Well, it is an awesome mid-February day. The ice is melting off the roof. It's going to get to be 40 degrees, and I think of just doing crazy things in the middle of winter like this. So now I'm in the garage looking at my muskie lures. I wanted to wrestle with Esther in the snow, but she was too busy, so I'm doing what I normally do when my mind goes to muskies. I get thinking of muskie lures, and what I want to talk about is lure modifications here. There's so many different things that you can do if you have a evil mind, I guess, to a certain extent, to change up your muskie lures a little bit. I think one of the things that we deal with as muskie anglers these days that's changed a lot, there's so much more pressure, intelligent pressure on the muskies out there than there used to be years ago when I started in this game. Everybody's pretty good at it. There's so many different lures. They're out there throwing baits in the right places, and it to a certain extent, I think something that's real important is showing the fish something different. When the fish are super active, the window's open, it's probably not going to matter what you're throwing, but boy, you really have an edge if you have something that they haven't seen before. So this time of the year when it gets warm, and I start dreaming up these different things. So just some stuff that I have done, and I'm thinking about doing even more of modifying lures. Now, here's one that I did years and years ago. I don't even know exactly what crankbait this is, but you can take a crankbait that's a 3-hook lure, and what you can do is remove a hook, and you can add a spinner in the middle of it. As long as you've got the proper spacing, it doesn't tangle on the cast. That adds a different flash, and it also affects the wobble a little bit. It changes the wobble and it adds more noise. So that's a little thing you can do that's worked well in the past for me. Here's a Livingston Lure Walking Boss 1. Now this is a topwater glide bait. Works well on its own, but I remove a back hook here, and what I do is I add a blade. So you can now work this a couple different ways. It doesn't have the perfect side-to-side glide like it used to. It's more erratic, but you still get that glide and you get the splash and the clank. The other thing you can do is just straight retrieve it, and it just kind of gurgles along. Again, it's definitely a different sound, which is something you're kind of looking for there. And I was going to show a Red October tube here, but one thing that you can modify all kinds of different baits to a certain extent with is the Livingston Lure Sound Bullet. Biologically recorded fish sounds that are literally in this bullet here. You can run wire through in this, so you can put it on bucktails. You can obviously put it on a Red October tube. You're not going to be able to see in here right now, but I built a sound bullet into this tube. I do all my own wiring. And then you see another add-on here. I put a willow leaf blade on the back of this great big Red October tube. Again, that's something different. And these, I run them on, people that have watched for years, I run them on top of live baits for muskies, dead baits for northern pike in the winter. You can add them to your trolling leaders, your casting leaders in front of baits. There's a lot of different things you can do with it, and with wiring running through, you can basically stick them into just about anything. Good buddy of mine, Dave Brown, who's actually shooting this video right now with his whale tail baits. Tremendous soft plastic lures. Here's a little modification that he came up with, he's coming out with now, and you can do this with any soft plastic bait, not just the whale tail, but basically, you can add a blade with this system he's got, or you literally are just screwing this into the bait wherever you want to place it, so you can have the blade on top, blade on bottom. Obviously, you want to use placement so that you're not getting tangled in the hooks, but it's really a neat thing that you can add to just about any soft plastic lure. And then this is, the Livingston crankbait, and again here I added a blade in the back, a smaller blade to keep it up a little higher and that kind of thing. But I've got more stuff in here, believe me, but that's just an example of some things you can do with lures that have maybe already worked well for you, or maybe lures that you bought and you haven't had any luck with, and you're like, geez, I spent 30, 40 bucks, whatever it is, on this lure, I can't catch a fish on it, it's worthless, I'm going to throw it away, or maybe all you need to do is just modify it, and you're going to turn that lure into something that's catching fish for you. So it's something to do in the middle of winter, and it can be real effective.